Welcome to the channel, everybody. So we're going to begin here with this article. It's titled De-dollarization. We've been hearing a lot about that. I, on my other channel, been talking about this for a long time. De-dollarization escalates amid U.S. economic warfare and error-fraught policies, Economist says. Let's scroll down here, see what they're talking about here. Economist Peter C. Earle says de-dollarization has begun. Yeah, it did. It began, maybe the middle of last year is when the BRICS nations said, hey, we're going to come out with a common currency backed by commodities, right? Then they tried to shore it up a little bit. First, they said gold. Then they said commodities. Now they're back to saying gold again for this common currency. Keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of digital assets deployed by the BRICS nations. Nonetheless, let's get back to what is important here. The fact that they're going to be doing that, and they are already moving away from the dollar. You see that Saudi Arabia, Iran, I believe Russia, they're going to be transacting in yuan for certain trades, okay? So already they have begun to de-dollarize. This has been ongoing. The plan is there. That not only that, you see more and more nations joining the BRICS nations as they go against a weaponized dollar. There is no way to make the dollar attractive right now because the West has weaponized it. Hey, we're going to hit you with sanctions. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with their financial system. It goes hand in hand with the US dollar. Their financial system in its entirety has been weaponized. So their financial system, theoretically and logically, I think, if you're one of the BRICS nations, needs to be minimized, right? So then you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But let's continue on here. It says, quote, it's not just the conscription of the dollar into economic warfare, but increasingly error-fraught monetary policy regimes that are driving various interests away from the greenback. Of course, yeah. I mean, this is logical. How long are you going to smack somebody over the head with a bat before they say, hey, maybe I need to move to a different area? That's a little bit of a crude example, but you get where I'm trying to go with that. It says, he described, quote, by weaponizing dollar dominance and permitting expanding mandates to disorient U.S. monetary policy, the dollar's fate as the lingua franca of the world commerce over the long haul may already be sealed. I can't agree with that. I mean, of course, I'm still going to watch the catalyst because things change. You know, there's a lot of unknown variables, cause and effect. There's a lot of unseen causes that can give rise to unknown effects. So I'm still going to watch that. Anything can happen. It's definitely possible. But as of right now, it does look like there is a clear path to where everything is heading now. The people in this country in the United States need to ask themselves, how does that affect the price of everything that they have going on, their cost of living? Obviously, if everyone's dumping dollars and the dollar becomes greatly diminished, I won't say it goes away 100%. No, not at all. But I'm saying if it's greatly diminished, how does that affect the prices of everything that you have to pay for? Is there hyperinflation? What are the plans? Are the people going to press their leaders to tell them what their plans are if the world rapidly de-dollarizes? Because I don't hear anyone pressing them about that. Maybe I just missed it. Let me know in the comment section if they are. Now, I hear a lot of, news and research people speaking about it. I'm talking about independent people on YouTube, people on TikTok speaking about these types of things. But I haven't seen anyone in the obviously mainstream media is not going to do that. Obviously, I think we all know that. But the people should push for these things. The people have to push back. If not, they're going to suffer for their lackadaisical nature. If the people rest on their laurels, they're going to suffer greatly if these things come to pass and they took no action. But let's continue on here. It says, Economist Peter C. Earle wrote an opinion piece titled, quote, De-dollarization has begun, unquote, published by the American Institute of Economic Research last week. He explained that, quote, the profound economic disruption experienced by Iran and more recently, Russia, after being evicted from dollar-based systems like SWIFT. And this is another reason why I'm saying, on my other channel, I continue to say, I think SWIFT is done. They're finished. No matter how much they try to innovate, the rest of the world, which the BRICS nations are going to make up probably more or close to 3/4 of the world population. Make sure you look that up for yourself and you can get those numbers on your own. Don't have to just take my word for it, okay? But most of those nations are not going to use SWIFT. So then SWIFT is going to be greatly diminished, greatly minimized, and that's why you have what everyone's calling the new financial system creeping in, where you have agnostic bridge currencies that level the playing field, so to speak. Of course, those are amongst the distributed ledger technologies and APIs, these gateways, these bridges and stuff like that, like quant network, things like that. You have those lingering in the background, but growing more powerful every day, and no one speaks about them at all, because you're going to need something in the middle that's neutral to to connect everything together. Now, even though the United States is doing all of these different things, is putting their people in a bad position, they still rely heavily on China. A lot of their products they get from China, a great deal of them. Europe, same thing. A lot of their products they get from China and Brazil. You can look that up as well. So they're still going to need a way to interact if they want to survive. I mean, things could get very dark if they didn't want to cooperate, but I see them having to come to the table in the future because of things like this. Their financial systems are going to be finished as far as being used globally and globally dominant. In my humble opinion, it will take some time. You just have to, stay on top of the catalyst and the news that is coming out, right? It says monetary policy response to 2008 crisis and redacted outbreak caused unpredictable fluctuations in the dollar value, the economists detail. The redacted triggered a massive expansionary response in 2020, followed by an initial disregard for the inflation outbreak that subsequently hit 4-decade highs, quote, before an aggressive contractionary shift in policy that destabilized precarious financial institutions was implemented, unquote, he noted. Earle referenced efforts by several countries in attempting to reduce their reliance on the US dollar. Didn't I just hear something about France also speaking in such a way of saying, hey, maybe we don't need to rely on the dollar as much? That is interesting. Very, very interesting and very, very telling. Watch out. Watch out. It says including the agreement between China and Brazil to settle trades in local currencies. In addition to BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Remember, there's so many more of these of countries around the world signed up to join the BRICS nations. Check that out. It says are reportedly working to create a new currency. So we're going to end off there. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I appreciate every single one of you here. If you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Get a little bit more news from me. And I will see you next time.